All right, cool. We're live. We're recording. So, welcome back. It's been, I believe, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Yep, I'm looking at the recording right now, and the audio is working. Yes. Um, but let's see. It's been about what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, I believe, something like that. Almost a month. But yeah, we're back and picked a very good time. Just off the bat, very good time to take a little break from the Zooms, just especially when we're looking at this, where it's been absolutely stupid for the past couple months, or past couple weeks, I'm sorry. But what we're gonna do today is start fresh. We had all of our markups from pretty much from I believe here, yeah, pretty much all of Q3 and Q4 ish almost. But yeah, we're gonna start fresh today. Completely bottom to top. All right, well, before that, actually, let me move this out the way. 12 months. Looking at our yearly closure, like we said, last year we were anticipating pretty much a straight up fall of the dollar, which is pretty much not what happened. And just based on where we are today in price, just by taking a glance at our monthly chart, the one thing that I can note is one, we are still, actually I'm gonna do this with annotating. We're still bearish from an overall perspective, but obviously we know in order to get a pullback, we need internal bullish structure, and internally, excuse me, internally, I'm seeing a wick be mitigated and inefficiency fill here. So this is a very, very important area in terms of where we will go directionally. So acknowledging that, very strong bullish closure for the year, but not really doesn't really tell us the most detail as of now, especially once we start going into our monthly time frame. As you can see, basically we have been bullish pretty much since the beginning of 2021. That's pretty much what had happened. And although after COVID we had pretty much we could pretty much tell where this was going to go for the rest of the year. After the move had occurred, we didn't know if we were going to continue take out lows or if we were going to recover. So from an overall perspective, I could say that we technically got it wrong, which is okay because we don't really care for the macro direction to be correct, especially if we're intraday swing traders. But yeah, looking at this now from a monthly perspective, an entire candle of interest and efficiency fill to the top of the candle. That's technically where we are currently, but I don't really want that. I want more specifics in terms of internal order flow, internal structure. So now that I'm looking at price currently, I am seeing a very important potential mitigation here. Actually gonna make that purple. Very, very important because one, it's provided a reaction. As you can see, preliminary structure has been taken. So this mitigation could be important because, as you guys remember, excuse me, a couple of months ago, we had noted this turbulence point as something of importance. So 1 second, let me put my phone on do not disturb. Sorry about that. So as of now, right, we are seeing the effect of the POI that we had mentioned, although it did take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 2 months, right? The move is occurring. The move is currently in play. But now, right, just as we said, although we could say there is a bear structural range, although I don't like how we did not take our previous structure, and this is technically another turbulence point where we are technically bouncing off of from a liquidity grab of this low in here, as you can see. So that has promoted and given us internal bullish structure. So I know that internally we are bullish here. And by that, I mean I mean here, right? So technically from a medium to long term, because this is our daily time frame, we are technically bullish, and we are bouncing off of previous structure, which is technically, what is that, like a 3-day high? Yeah, 3-day inefficiency fill, as you can see. That's technically where we're bouncing off right now. So once we start diving in deeper, right, this is where we start seeing the composition of moves occur. And when I'm looking at this now, right, the main thing that I'm noting here is I'm trying to see what exactly is happening from a structure, liquidity, order flow perspective. So I see a previous low here being taken out, and then immediately structure has then been taken with momentum. With momentum into the upside, and that is promoted that bullish conversion in the form of a bullish liquidity grab, and that is currently what's in play right now. But as we mentioned before, this transition, right, we have to note that we are still high, low, high, low, high, low. We're still technically bearish. So we know that this conversion is only giving us short-term momentum, and we would need something else for that to give us the full move, which is exactly what we got here, right? Can somebody tell me what we see here? Anybody, can you guys tell me what we see here? Reaccum, but in the form of what? Yep, as the structural disruption, in the form of structural disruption, because we obviously see, right, that let me do this instead. Right, we obviously have internal structure, low, high, low, high, low, high, right? Once that preliminary structure is taken, this is now a solidified high, which is technically a break of structure, but it could also be considered, right, a form of liquidity grab into the downside, because you have obviously the bearish liquidity grab. So because immediately after that structure is taken and then pushed into the upside, we now have a bullish narrative, a bullish structural disruption, which is why you see those continuations to the upside. And that's exactly what we're playing off right now. And this is also supporting, right, the AU idea that I talked about, that I showed you guys yesterday, but we'll get back to that. I'll probably cover that last. But anyways, right, we understand that we are short-term, medium-term, bullish in terms of DXY, right? So now it's important to note, right, from that daily perspective, that our bullish structure is still technically in play, right? And the next stopping point where we want to see what occurs is anywhere in this general area. Why? This is probably, I guess, a 3-day or a weekly or a 2-week. Yep, around a 2-week inefficiency fill. Or when we start to go in deeper, there is a daily SC sitting in here. So I would say that we would probably come back into this relative area, maybe even have structure, who knows. But for the meantime, we are short-term bullish. And then whatever happens up here, we would need a bearish transition in order to obviously continue lower, or a bullish structural disruption, as we saw internally here, to then give us more bullish momentum, right? So although I would like to say, right, that I want to be bearish in terms of the long term, because we have reacted off of a turbulence point, I have to also acknowledge internal structure. And that's what's given me that short-term, medium-term narrative to then see what will happen in terms of then, obviously, if we're going to reverse and start coming for these lows, or if we're going to start coming up, break the POI. And if that occurs, then we would need a very, very strong conversion here to give us more downside. If not, we will probably reach up for this COVID high up here. But yeah, let's see. Short-term bullish, as you can see. Now we can go to EU. EU, absolutely disgusting. I know you guys have been catching a bunch of intraday moves here, which is completely fine. It's just from a directional POV up until right there, right? There is no clear certain direction, right? Of course, you could, in hindsight, you could now tell why that is giving you that bullish momentum. And that was basically, if we zoom out a bit, if we're looking at this from the preliminary leg, right? Obviously, preliminary leg is taken. This is now a solidified low. So now it's time for a pullback, right? And that is pretty much where the inefficiency fill occurred. But then you had a liquidity grab and then the mitigation of the liquidity grab's wick. And that's what's pretty much promoting that short-term bullish run. So we have broken through, right, a POI, which I would note here in a sec. Right, we've broken through a very significant POI. This is significant to me because this is the pause before the final move to the downside, right? There is no internal reaction here if we zoom in, right? Nothing in terms of in terms of giving you a transition, right? Low, high, internal low, new high, internal low, new high. And then we even had a continuation BOS here and then a liquidity grab, I believe there, as you can see, which then was mitigated, and that's giving you that short-term bearish momentum. But it's now becoming important to see, right, if this will continue lower just as DXY is continuing higher, or if we're going to give a transition into the new week, which is next week. Because obviously you could say there's a POI here today, but we're obviously done trading for the week, so I'm more so trying to see how this weekly will close and how we open for the next week. But I would definitely like to see a much bigger recovery, definitely more into a premium, right? We're pretty much right around equilibrium. I'd love to see a higher premium to then see if we're going to get a transition to the downside or if we're going to start reversing into the upside. But as of now, it's really just continuation to the downside. And there was something I was looking at this morning, I just didn't take it. And it was based on news. So with news, right, I was pretty much looking at one thing, right? I was looking to see, right, if this POI was going to give me a bullish conversion and see if we were going to get a continuation BOS or a reversal BOS and give us upside momentum. But the reason why this POI isn't the best in terms of me trying to take a trade, a buy based on it, is because we had technically just taken out a previous low, previous low, previous low here. So because we have taken those out, that means that if I'm trying to buy here, I'm technically picking a low. Even if you say this is liquidity, you need that transition internally in order to try to project higher pricing. So when I was looking at this internally today, right, I don't trade news, right, but I like to see what they do. So you obviously see the whiplash occur right after news. So then I want to see what happens. Obviously my original direction internally is still bearish, right? So when I'm looking at this, we obviously see the whiplash. There's no reaction to the POI. The POI is broken through, right? But remember, there's three things that can happen in a POI: open, 50%, or liquidity grab, which is pretty much what happened there. But the only reason why I didn't want to assume a buy was because I believe it's here. Yep. M1 order flow is still bearish, structure is still bearish. So even though we had the continuation BOS here, right, this is still giving me signs that we are still going to be bearish. So back to M3, that's pretty much where I was at majority of this scenario. So as you can see, eventually price had given you that break of structure into the downside, which is in alignment with that, you know, previous momentum, right? And we had just taken out a structural low, right? So this could technically be argued as a type of structural disruption because you have a liquidity grab into the upside and essentially a justified bullish scenario, which is then taken out, and you now get the recovery into the premium, which is what we want. So unfortunately I didn't take this, but I was observing it the entire time. And the only reason why I didn't take it was just because I actually wanted a premium in terms of the range, right? Because I'd be technically selling at a discount. But the reason how you can justify this is because of the structural disruption. And if that's a model that you're trading and that you've created a system around, then it makes sense. But as you can see, right, this, I was observing this. I didn't take I should have taken a screenshot, but I didn't. But this, I was looking at this, maybe probable-ish. And it's about a 7 pip stop if you're conservative and more of a 2.5 if you're aggressive. But either way, that is paying off right now. Unfortunately, I just didn't take. And it's currently about 1401 still running, right? But these transitions are what you want to study. You want to study those order flow disruptions, those structural disruptions, because that's pretty much what's that recollection that we talk about with reaccumulation, redistribution, that gives you that continuation, right? And you want to catch those transitions to get the high R, basically. From the same trade with aggressive SL, very nice. Yeah, it's justified. It's 100% justified. It's just me from wanting to trade a higher perspective. I want that premium in that minor major intraday, not just a scalp, because this is a scalp premium. But in a minor intraday perspective, right, when we are essentially taking out preliminary structure that solidifies the low, so high to low, right, we didn't even reach equilibrium. So that's the only reason why I couldn't justify it from my end. But yes, but if you're looking at order flow continuations, then it makes all the sense in the world as to why this is justified. But yeah, that's EU for you. GU, I'm really considering not trading this for the next couple weeks. I just don't like it. It's been so sloppy. You see all these wicks, and it's been like this for 225 divided by 7. That's like 7.5 months. It's been 7.5 months that we've been seeing a bunch of choppy movement. Whereas with EU and AU, you've actually, we don't see as many wicks, and we've been actually able to see moves into the downside and those transitions. But it's just personal preference from my end. I kind of don't really want to trade this anymore. So just gonna make this here today. That's out. And I might, I need to look into this, but I might add UCAD. Who knows? Might add UCAD. Or I don't know. I'll be looking into it, but for now I'm really just focusing on these two. Yes, and that's the only reason why I'm considering it, because I've been seeing you guys actually posting some trades with it, and I've been seeing you guys' executions, and it's actually been relatively clean, especially during New York session. But yeah, that brings us to AU. EU, want to see what happens for the short-term bearish. Yeah, short-term bearish, but I want to see how we close next week. Or how we open the next couple days, I'm sorry. AU, this one's the good one. Right, remember what, this one we have forever been bearish. Not forever, but like for the past 4 to 6 months. We have been bearish, especially because I'm noticing as of now, right, that although we have, this mitigation in play, right, this is very deep. This is, I wouldn't believe this is going to come up higher, especially when we've taken preliminary structure right here, which solidifies the high, which is technically unwillingness based on this high. So technically this is unwillingness. And when we're looking at internal structure in terms of the leg, like leg 1, leg 2, and I'm essentially looking at our solidified points, my immediate range is here to here, right? Took out structure, then took out structure, bearish liquidity grab, bearish structural range. And that's pretty much where I derived my idea from yesterday. That's what justified me looking for that that bearish scenario. But the thing is, excuse excuse me, from a POI perspective, we are stuck in a 3-day candle. So when I'm looking at a 3-day candle and I'm seeing that obviously this is where I want to take the position, right? That's where I want to take the position. I need a proper transition in order to want to take that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, when I'm looking at structure, let's actually pull up the screenshots from yesterday. You guys can see what I was saying. This is the initial chart right here. Initial chart. That's annoying. So basically, obviously internally, we are, where is this right here? We are bullish, right? And this is just the continuation into the upside. But this is why structural disruptions period, is such an important concept, because a disruption, right, is failure to continue. So when we see a bullish move to the upside, let me change color, see a bullish move to the upside, right, and then we see it fail, that's a structural disruption, right? And that's the point of white line number 1, white line number 2. So now that I'm looking at this, right, I now have to measure character. I see character 1 and then I see character 2, right? So where did the character shift? Here. Character is shifted, right? This is now my POI of a POI of, let me finish and I'll get to your question. Pretty much a POI based on, right, that technically a reversal, but it's justified via a structural disruption, and we're within, yeah, I need to zoom this out. Okay. And it is within our 3-day range, our 3-day POI range. So I found it a justified scenario to pretty much take this, because I know my invalidation is at the high of this candle. And when I'm looking at this now, right, structural disruption, speed, right, mitigation. Excuse me. It's a bit under 4 pip. Yeah, it was a bit under 4 pip. Currently running 1 to 20. Right, I actually have set a limit there just because it was already 10:30 and I was preparing to go to the gym. But yeah, I didn't really get to do anything smaller time frame. And I know that if I wait for smaller time frame, there's always the balance between how conservative you wish to be and how many trades you're going to get into. So if I'm too conservative, I probably won't get into many trades and I'll probably miss out on a lot of moves, right? But if I set this proper scenario here where my SO is at the invalidation point and everything is justified based on model, then I understand that this, right, is now a potential move to the downside. Is that an I'll get back to it. Hold on. Jeez, but yeah, but you see what I'm doing. I'm essentially looking at a higher time frame perspective, and I'm trying to catch a minor intraday conversion, because this isn't a scalp move. This is a minor intraday move, meaning I know that I'm going to try to get a pretty big move. You know what I mean? Like, this is 80 pips. It's a pretty big move. So, and if I do it correctly, then bro, I'm looking at a big move here. You see what I mean? right? And if we take this out, clear some volume out, and we're looking at, you know, these are how you catch these big moves, because I'm catching, right, a intraday conversion on a higher time frame. What's bias? I'm sorry, I was about to say basis bias. But yeah, you guys see what I'm doing. Momentum is on my side. I was a bit hesitant, so what I did, I just closed my computer or turned off my computer, went about my day and see how it rolls. And as you can see, it's working out. But yeah, justified and paying off. Right, only made sense because of the bias, and the bias only made sense because of the rules. So Fred, is that an order for disruption on retracement? What are you talking about? What perspective? What structural perspective? Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, pretty much a month off and haven't lost my touch. 17 seconds for that M5 candle. Yeah. Sheep, yes, I'm sheep. Oh, and the cool thing about AU, I don't know if you guys trade AU, but it does a lot of Asia session moves, so I might start looking at charts before I go to bed too. Don't know. And just setting intraday parameters. I like my slow moving pairs because I like my 3 pip stops, 2 pip stops. Because you see, that was a pretty big POI, but it's only 3 pips. And here's something cool too. This is something I don't really talk about a lot. Let me see. While he's sending the link. As you can see, low volatility, high volatility. Where's news? High volatility. For example, this POI here is only 4.5 pips. Let me actually do this. That POI there. Whereas if I were to go look for the continuation here, which there was, I was looking at it as well. There was a continuation here, right? If we're looking at same parameters, right? There's obviously, let me actually show you guys a scenario. I don't want to assume too much that you guys see. So there's 1 and there's 2. Bearish liquidity grab in alignment with previous momentum, justified by what I just talked about for the past 5 to 10 minutes. Right, and this stop is 6 pips. You see? So this stop is 3 pips because I'm catching this move during low volatility, whereas this is higher volatility because this is actually when news was injected. So I'm actually catching a very, very justified move in a low liquidity area. And by low liquidity, I just mean that the POIs are smaller in terms of pip size, instead of waiting until here after the move has shown itself to then give you, you know, not only a more probable, but less R, because that's 6 pips up, about 28 pips down, right? But as you can see here, this is 35 pips, 37 pips, whereas this move is already 33 pips, and it's actually smaller. Right, I hope I'm making sense there. I hope you guys see what I'm saying there. If not, it's confusing, then just forget it. Yeah, look, this, wrong color. Oops. This is starting the pullback. That's what's giving me the pullback. That's not, this does not mean rocket. Right? Like I said, if you're trying to buy here, you're catching a low, you're just broke structure. So this is just promoting the pullback. That's why I'm not trying to be too focused on this. Look at this time frame, M5. This is probably an M1 move. I'm not too focused on this. I more so care about the M15, the M30, the 3-day, the 1 hour. For the pullback, yes, but I said my invalidation is here. My invalidation is here. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This is gonna rocket, right? But all I know is that this is just a transition into the pullback because we just broke structure. So to assume bullishness here doesn't make sense, even if bullish order flow is in play. Like, so you're looking at structure, right? Order flow doesn't dictate, well, it dictates the internal structure, right? This, actually, let me do a different color. Red is structure, blue, oops, order flow, right? So for here, you need bullish order flow to give you a pullback. Yeah, you're definitely being way too, yeah. Oh, well, actually, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say it really just depends on what you're looking for. Because, for example, you're a scalper, bro. You're you're pretty much your biggest trades that I've seen have been major intraday for the most part. But the more consistency that I've seen with you is with scalping trades. So with scalping trades, you're obviously focused on that M1. You're obviously focused on catching this move, this move, this move, this move, which is good in terms of catching R, but it's obviously going to increase the frequency of how much you trade. But to say that every single time you're going to get the conversion internally is false, because like I just said, the more conservative you wish to be, the more trades you're going to miss. Right, but if my idea is justified by not only higher time frame structure, right, but also the structural disruption model, right, then I am more justified. It was on 3-day, bro, the 3-day time frame. Let me see. So it's all up to you. It's, are you wanting to focus on win rate, focus on higher R, right? That's why I don't really teach you your model. I let you figure your model out, because you know how much you want to trade, how long you want to trade, when you want to trade, how you want to trade, and what you want to trade. I'm only giving you concepts. You're supposed to figure out how to put it together, right? Which I know you do, right? But that's just for other people. Hold on, let me move this. Let me see. I mean, I'm still selling it for the main reason that this has still been bearish. I don't really care much for this. This isn't, like, unless I'm trying to catch one of these big moves, I don't really care much for that structure. That's why I more so just care for, excuse me, where we are directionally and catching the continuations. Especially here, like, I guess you could say we almost already tried to create a bullish conversion there, but that failed, and that's why we're seeing bearish moves, bearish continuations. Also, when the runs. Hold on, let me check something. Hold on. Yep, momentum still to the downside. Yep, hold on, I'm checking something. Oh, this computer. I don't know why Discord on my computer is so dumb. I can't search anybody's names up. have to pull out my phone. Give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. Just checking something real quick. Does this, so you're saying, what your question is does this confirm unwillingness? No. If this were to take this out, then this is full-on unwillingness. The only reason why I'm considering it kind of as such is because this is the weekly time frame. So that's why we get those pretty big moves internally. I mean, this is the chart. This is the chart he sent. What are you, what? Also, hey, who's dollar sign? Who's dollar sign in the Zoom, please? Did they just leave? Somebody, oh, fucking hell. Did somebody really just let somebody in the Zoom?
Oh, it's Sash.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, buddy. Just make sure to have your name, buddy, please. Appreciate it. What are you talking about? Not the chart Tomas sent. Oh, let me see. Which one are you talking about? Sorry. You can annotate the screen. I don't mind.
Hello. Yeah, Fredo. So I was saying, like in this chart, like this was the solidified low, right? And like this was solidified low, and this was confirmed as unwillingness when this broke.
Yes, that's what a structural disruption is. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Pretty much a failed move to the upside, which is then negated. Right? Does that make sense?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, oh, it's already been 40 minutes. Wow. Does anybody have some charts they want to show? Any questions? I know we have a couple of new people in here.
Yes, I have. I have a BE on EU, so I wanted to ask something on that.
Okay.
Just
go ahead. And if you guys want to share your screen, by all means, let me know. If you don't have charts.
yes. So can I share my screen now?
Yeah, I got you.
It's disabled as of now. It's disabled, Fredo.
Oh, it is. Medium share, sharing options, all participants. I think you're good now. Cool. Let me hold on. One second. Can I? Nope. Okay, never mind. Got it. There we go.
Yeah. So I was while we were in this range, like I was looking for a sell, right? Because like till here, like I sent you my that case study on the ranges, right? So that day we were around here, so I was like expecting this as to be a target, right? But right here we took out this low and this high and this high, and we like had a liquidity graph to the downside. And here we had like I guess it was yes and here we have like 45 minutes like bearish transition, and here there was a POI which was like this, and I even got an entry right here, but like this chart just reversed, and I don't understand like why we did reverse, because we have nothing down here to like to be mitigated or something.
Uh-huh.
We just took out the liquidity of this block, just this block,
Uh-huh.
and like it just
Okay, let me
skyrocketed, right?
I need you to do me a favor really quick.
Yeah.
So I'm about to do this. Do this on your screen on TradingView right now. Where in this exact moment. Because this was what, like a week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. So shall I show my trading view right now?
Yeah, your TradingView and go to that same
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. We are right here.
Yeah, so actually go to a different broker. Go to like FXCM because I don't want you to delete all your stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so now do what I just did. Just a square. Uh-huh. Now go to H4. Okay, show me that whole range. Zoom out, zoom out. Actually, do you have TradingView Pro? Can you go to H8?
It just expired
Oh,
yesterday.
you just
So
expired? Okay, no, that's fine,
I
that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. So
yeah.
you have this here to play with. So you have just, let me see. Preliminary range, continuation BOS, meaning this is a pullback, technically, because we are originally bearish. But then we have a confirmed high being taken out, right? And then we then have the previous high be taken out. So when we have a point where our low isn't being taken out and our high isn't being taken out, but internally, right, we are seeing taps, right? What is that called? Anybody can answer this because I know you guys know what I'm talking about. What is that called? No man's land. Thank you. No man's land. Meaning what?
Meaning like we're still in a range.
We're still in a range. Exactly. So if you're attempting to trade the range, the best that you can do is aim for here or here. But it's unideal from a risk perspective because you don't necessarily know which direction it's going to go. You don't know if this transition is going to give you continuation to the downside or continuation to the upside. Because like you're doing here once again, right here, you're stuck in the range again. You're not letting it show its hand, which is what it did. What was it? I think it was earlier this week, right? I believe it was earlier this week, something like that. Yeah, so I'm not telling you not to trade ranges, but when you're trading a range, don't expect too much because, for example, you're trying to justify a bullish scenario when the range still hasn't even shown its hand. You see what I mean?
Yes, I did, but like right here, this high like broke this high, well, I don't know, by few pips, right? And there we have a liquidity bearish transition here, right? But still, I was like convinced because we have a bullish transition here, and like this was the main high, so it could be a bearish liquidity grab or a break of structure, right? So after this I was convinced like we were going like we were bullish, but after here like right here when we broke this high and like probably mitigated something in this wick and we gave the bearish transition, so I was like totally convinced like we're like bearish now because we have a lot of liquidity signal down and like few of like the bullish
So,
liquidity has been cleared, so I was
okay,
thinking
so let me tell you how I would look at this then. So I would see this here currently as a bearish liquidity grab, and I would reference POI here, right? So at the moment, even though I can try to assume bullish narrative, right? I know that one, originally my direction was bearish. Two, I now have a bearish liquidity grab. Three, we have a POI of reference, right? Which met target, right? This POI met preliminary target. right? But it's until this has now broken through that I can assume bullishness. Until then, I cannot assume bullishness. From a conservative POV where I'm wanting to, focus on continuations from a trend perspective and liquidity, order flow, etc. Right? So you can sit here and say there's bullish transitions. Bullish transitions here. But it doesn't matter to me because it doesn't support the picture that's being portrayed in my eyes, because there's this high that was tested, taken out, and then we have a bearish liquidity grab. So I can only assume the continuation, and as you can see, the continuation itself gave a decent move. You see what I mean? So I can only assume that bearishness because of the bearish liquidity grab narrative and the original direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so until this POI is taken out, which will consequentially also take out structure, that's not only a bullish break of structure, that's order flow disruption, because you now have the confirmed reaction here, and you then have the POI being taken out. So that's what then dictates a more higher narrative from the perspective of, a higher time frame. But if we zoom out now, right, this will go back to our review. Go to 3-day.
Oh, it won't let me.
Okay, go to daily. That's fine. Go to daily. So zoom out a bit. So that's only for your, I would say that's a major intraday POV where you're bullish. But where are we coming from originally? Bearish, right? And like we said, this is the start of the pullback. And what has been happening for the past 2-3 months, no, not even 2 months, like month-ish? Pullback. So focus less internally, focus more externally, and then try to make them fit, and that's how you get your high probable scenario. But that's from the perspective of a swing trader, you see what I mean? From an intraday scalp perspective, you make a lot more sense because that's what you're looking for. Because now whenever you're looking at, for example, intraday trade, go back to what we just talked about, please. I think it was, go to H1. Because from an intraday perspective, and yeah, make that square fit the screen. From that intraday perspective, right, I can justify a I can justify bullish scenario here, bearish scenario here, bullish scenario here, right? But it really just depends what you're looking for. So if you're asking me from an intraday perspective, why did this moon? Well, look at your swing perspective, look at your position perspective. You see what I mean? Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So what was your question, and what do you think your answer is?
So like basically I was like more concerned like why did you moon from here, right? Because like now that I like after the move happened, I like in hindsight we have this bullish transition. So like something in between, like we mitigated something in there, yeah, and that's why we moon. But like I now understand like focus more on like swing trades, because like
I'm
since
not
the
saying to
start I was
focus more on
like
swing trades, but focus on your swing bias as well
because
with your
because
intraday POV.
because since the start I was bullish, but like just because of this I was like bearish just because of this like.
And don't get me wrong, that bullish move was overdue. It's a matter of timing. Right? And you see this bullish liquidity grab is a good reason to take, a bullish move, but this happened right after this POI that we had just mentioned had finished the move. We cannot assume a bullishness until this transition has occurred. And now here's where you catch those continuations to the upside from an intraday POV. Right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. I guess I'm okay, let me Run. I wouldn't say run. I'd say spectate. So just put an answer in it. You could sell bullish disruption when the scenario makes sense. It's only when the bullish disruption changes the scenario that you'd allowed it to. Well, here's the thing, bro. It's not just about bullish disruption. It's scalp bullish disruption on a major intraday idea. Right? What is something I said in the course, and this is one of the main things that I remember that I said in the course. Security of anything, right? I said it in structure, but security of anything is better when it's higher time frame. For example, the higher the structural level that you're going in terms of micro, scalp, minor intraday, major intraday, swing position, the higher you go, the more secure it's going to be in terms of trend, in terms of sustainability, right? But you're trying to disprove a major intraday scenario with a scalp bullish disruption. You see what I mean? Like what, you know? No. Where are you getting that from? Disruptions are more significant on lower time frame. No, anything on higher time frame is more sustainable. Just as easily as you convert on an M1 to a bullish perspective, you can easily just convert back into bearish, because the security of an M1 move is nowhere near what an H1, H4 move is. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Right, am I making sense with that? Do you guys understand what I'm getting with that? Right, security of anything is higher the higher you go. Right, like your M1, like for example, this is a M1, M3 max bullish bearish transition. I mean bullish order flow disruption. Right, but my scenario is not only backed by structural disruption on a M5, M10, M15, but it's judged on the 3-day POI. You see what I mean? But you're trying to disprove all of that with an M1 bullish disruption. Like, it doesn't make sense. Well, you're a scalper, bro. You were scalping back then. In a scalp move, of course, a bullish disruption is going to invalidate it because it's a scalp move. Like, you see what I mean? Like, so of course I'm going to point that out on a scalp perspective because you're scalping. You see what I mean? But you're trying to disprove my swing trade, my major intraday trade, with a scalp characteristic. You see, it doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? And what happens when it doesn't add up? Let me show you. This is what happens when stuff don't add up. Yeah, you're a very big overthinker, yeah. Overthinker leads to complication. Just put it like that. Yeah, bro, like you could do it on your phone too. If you have an iPhone, just put 0 divided by 0 and it says error. So when somebody's telling me some bullshit, I'm like, yo, like shit's not adding up. Like, look. Like, yeah. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Right, hour-long Zoom call, not bad. Good to be back. Can you check this? Yep. So what is this based on? Give me more. This is just an M1 reversal trade. What is this based on? It's obviously okay. There we go. I see it. Never mind. That's what it's based on. And you have mitigation 1, mitigation 2, strong order flow. High volume, low momentum. Yes. Okay, yeah. This makes a lot more sense now. Yep. Yep. So your idea is supported by this, right? Because you're technically bearish, but this gives you optimism, plus you're in a discount. Yep. So it's the perfect area to start looking for buys. And you have a very good closure there. Cool. So what I see now is this. Look. You could say that's probably like an M2, M3 POI-ish, maybe. But what I'm noting is micro structure there means there is a reaction in play, right? So, as you can see, there's bullish order flow still in play as well, but there's also bearish order flow in play, and there's bullish order flow. And because there is a type of reaction internally, so this is I would say this is very high risk, 100% very high risk. Yeah, but this could be seen as potentially order flow disruption. But either way, this is very high risk. I probably wouldn't have taken that trade, if I'm being honest. And you didn't even get any type of pullback. That's annoying. Like no pullback, no pullback. I'm gonna let you go figure that out, bro. I'm not gonna give you yes no answer. You can test that yourself. Cause you're obviously overthinking it, so I want you to go actually look for it for yourself. So yeah, take the weekend. Yeah. You think you know? Okay, so now go find out. Go check yourself. Let me see. Yeah, you see, I wouldn't have traded this. I would have traded this for sure. Yeah, this would have made a lot more sense for me. Yep. Because off the bat, you see it. Let me see. Right, and then internally, right, liquidity grab, and I'm pretty sure there's entries here and here and here. Yeah, that was today, right? Yeah, that was today. Let's actually look at that. Let's look at that. This is still going. Wow. Still going. What was that 80 pips? Now it's 95. There we go. So you guys are seeing this play out. Yeah. All right. So off the bat, what I love to see, this right here. Structure taken out, internal structural range, but we know that we need bearish internal structure to get the pullback. So realistically, this is your conservative trade here. I'm gonna actually do this instead. Conservative trade, 10 pips, that's your conservative, as conservative as you can be, and that's already 1-4. But if you're waiting for reaction, you can see, right, there is a POI here, right, but I'm still internally bearish, right? So it's until we get bullish liquidity grab that I can then justify. Dang, that's still 5 pips. Wow, 5.5 pips. As you can see, that's a 1-8. Or if you wanted to even be more conservative, there's obviously that right there too. I'm gonna just ignore that, bro. Come on. Yeah. But you see what I'm saying, right? You guys see what I'm saying, right? Do you guys need me to actually mark it out? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Right, yeah, you guys are seeing what I'm saying, right? Like the liquidity grab mitigation of the SC, right? Okay, cool. Because, yeah, if I don't, I can show you guys the little mitigations right there. Cool. Yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. It's been a good hour. The weekly closure. Yeah, it's gonna be stupid, bro. Look at this. Look at this. It's gonna be stupid. That's stupid. Because I want to be bearish, but but then that's kind of inclining me for bullish, but you know, I don't like to go solely off weekly closures. But yeah. Excuse me. Tuesday will be pre-recorded. Fridays will be live, and we can always do our case studies on Fridays just because we have more time. And yeah, one-on-ones will probably start next week again if you guys want to do that. I just need to figure out my school schedule and see what I'm gonna do. How I'm gonna schedule my gym time, my game times, and then obviously my trading times and all that will be the same. But yeah, it's gonna be a great year. Gonna be a great year. I needed that break. You watch Barca Real? Yeah, man. If you're a Real fan, you cannot say that you don't respect this. If you're a Real fan, your final college year, yeah, I graduate in December, and then I'm free. Like I'm liberated of school. Because if anything, if I'm gonna get like a license or anything, it's a 6-month process. It's not and it's like it's not like school. It's like, you know, where I'm taking BS classes here and there. Yeah, man, enjoy. Be safe. But yeah, well, it's gonna be a good year. Yes, sir. And now we're actually seeing moves play. So yeah, man, y'all have a good day. But yeah, for one-on-ones, just DM me, and yeah, we'll go from there. Oh yeah, and journals start next week too. Journals next week. But remember, journals, just make sure to follow the assignments tab. Yeah, man, have a good weekend. You guys enjoy.